discussion with DEP on the standards on whether they're health-based, like what determines what safe that one is for the groups that are in this permit?
We're having trouble hearing the gentleman.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to repeat to her.
I'm having trouble hearing myself. There's a machine back here.
I'm not sure I'm going to phrase this correctly. If I don't repeat it, feed me better. I think the question was, what are the standards based on? Are they health standards or what? What I said was, it was a technology. The quick answer is that our evaluations are done based on technology standards, not health standards. Okay? What we do, the underlying concept in predominantly across the country is technology-based. What it says essentially is that as older plants and older sources fall apart and become, useless, are replaced, they need to be replaced with things that are cleaner. Competition drives a lot of that. We've had more or less continual, better combustion for gas, for example. So there are a number of burner manufacturers that continually vie for the lowest emissions and so on. We don't do health-based. We don't make evaluations of permits based on health standards in a direct fashion. We followed the lead of the federal government on that. There is a what's called a prevention of significant deterioration regulation that applies to large permits. This is in the big category that I was talking about. In fact, the power plant that I referenced was subject to PSD, prevention of significant deterioration. And what had to happen in that case is that modeling was done locally for the local plant to determine whether or not the ambient air standards for those emissions of significance that were coming off of that plant to predict whether or not there would be any violations with this new emission source. So for some of the large permits, very large permits like that one, there are direct analysis of health issues. In this case, there is none. Typically, for the smaller cases like this one, there isn't any.
So does DEP look at the cumulative effect of, you have this plant, you have Sunnyside being permitted in Curwensville, you have River Hill waste coal plant being permitted in Carthus. Are all three of these being looked at together so that you don't go over any limits that would be unsafe?
The question is, are we looking at some of the more recently large-sized plants that are permitted? Are we looking at potentially at the cumulative impacts of them? And the answer is no. My own experience would tell me that would not be necessary. The emissions from these plants are not likely to affect each other. If there was some reason to believe that might happen, we might consider that. We have some experience with the permitting of the River Hill coal facility. That's, by the way, that's no secret here. That's the power plant I've been referring to. I'm sorry, River Hill Power, not River Hill Coal. It's a different company. We found that they did not have any significant impact. It's very unlikely in my judgment. I'm not a modeler. I will admit that right up front here. We don't suspect that there would be any interaction amongst those three plants. So we didn't see any reason to pursue that line of questioning.
Just a comment, I think that's a bit ironic considering that earlier you said you have to look at the downwind effects of other states west of us blowing into Pennsylvania, yet these three plants in the same county somehow won't affect each other at all. So I'm just surprised to hear that.